Hey everyone, lead trader with Stock Trade Tim Bohen. Today we're going to talk about behind the scenes of Twitter. 5 tips when using Twitter for stock trading. So listen, I always go back and forth. Listen, I think Twitter is the best social media company out there. Thank you, Papa Elon, for saving us. But there's a lot of good and bad. I go back and forth. Like, I've told the story many times. Like, I remember like in the very early days, I think I joined Twitter probably like at late 2009, I want to say. Much smaller, and like that was the emergence of the cash tag, okay? Many people ask, like, where did that dollar sign before the ticker came from? That's from the early days of Twitter, FinTwit as we call it, and the cash tag, okay? And it was different then. It was almost a more pure, less scammy, less braggadocious, less disgusting time. I look back at maybe a little too much melancholy, but it was different because it was so much smaller that it was more about helping each other. And then you kind of transition into really about 2016 when Twitter completely fell apart and just imposters and braggers and fake P&Ls and all of this stuff. It's a bummer, but it's actually gotten better. Like the last year or so, I went from telling everyone to get on Twitter, get on there, get on there. Then for about 4 or 5 years, I'm like, get off. It actually flipped, and I think it's a good tool now if you know what to look for, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So understand the difference between real trades and like actual trades, and the biggest thing you're going to look for is those charts. Charts with entries and exits on them, based on like real times of day, etc. Real time, okay? You want to look for things as real time as possible. If they're posting P&Ls from the day before, that's a red flag. And then also look for like realistic win rates, okay? Like it's one thing if you're following somebody and it's like it's just every day it's a win, it's 6 times a day, and it's like, man, is that legit? And that's a big thing to look for. Is a red flag, is people, want the likes, they want the retweets, they want the comments, but they don't want to deal with, posting a loser and people call them names and people will be like, oh, terrible risk management. But that can be a good thing, too. You can learn from that as well. So watch for the ridiculous win rates as well as the huge profits. Like, listen, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've seen millions of dollars in one day from some anonymous guy on Twitter, okay? It's kind of strange. Now listen to Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman's very active on Twitter. He's a billionaire. If he posts some million dollar trade, okay. But if like, Joey Buttafuoco 84 posts a $1 million trade, man, you want to be careful with that. And the next thing I want to talk about, and this is kind of a bummer again, understand the motives, okay? Everybody's got a plan, or everybody's got an agenda on social media. They want the likes, they want the arguments, they want to, maybe they're shorting a stock and they want you to buy it. Maybe they're buying it and they want you to short it. And I don't want you to get too jaded as we go through this video, but I think the biggest thing to understand is just everybody's got an agenda. I mean, why would you post? Like, why would you post to social media unless there was a reason? Now, it could be a noble agenda. Like when I say agenda, you might assume I'm talking like everybody's, evil and trying to hose you. It could be a noble agenda. Like I'm posting to Twitter to actually help you learn how to do this. But the point is, understand everyone's got an agenda. They're not doing it for any other reason unless they're just psychopaths and want likes and retweets, which is a lot of people. But that being said, the importance of due diligence is next. When you start following someone, go back to their track record, look at their followers, look at their comments, look at their verification status, and and look for like a real track record. Going back to Joey Buttafuoco 84, did he start posting to Twitter 2 days ago, or has he been there for 15 years like I have, or 14 years, whatever it is, okay? And with a consistent track record of going over these chart setups and going over these trades and talking about the fundamentals and doing all of that versus somebody that just joined yesterday with some weird avatar and anonymous name. Like, that's another thing. Watch out for the random screen names with fake profile pics, etc. So make sure you know who you're following and look for the red flags. Next is look out for pump and dumps. Man, Atlas Trading, Zach Morris and the boys. Really interesting. Sometimes I shudder. It's like saying Candyman's name. I'm always a little worried about that. But, they were openly, like I have never seen anything as brazen as Atlas Trading. I mean, they were like, give me a stock and I'll pump it, okay? Now, understand, if you know it's a pump, nothing wrong with trading it. My buddy Tim Sykes built his entire trading history 20 years ago, specifically trading pump and dumps because he knew they were pump and dumps. You ride them on the up and then short them on the way down. But make sure you know that it's a pump, okay? And when you see these people, like I've seen it, they will post about the same ticker like 100 times a day. Like seriously, like legitimately 100 times. Okay. I kind of feel like if you like this trade, mentioning it once, maybe twice is probably sufficient. But if you're just talking about and you're posting links and you're doing all this stuff all day long, make sure you know that. Okay. Now, you can ride the momentum, just know what it is. Always understand what you're trading. Next thing is learn from other traders, but build your own style. Okay. I often talk about short selling. I like to pick on short sellers, even though I love short selling. I was predominantly a short seller for a decade. But listen, don't just blindly follow someone's strategy until you've tested it yourself. Maybe you're just not wired to go short. Maybe you're not wired to go long, okay? If you see these big gains and you see them posting all the time, make sure you're testing that and seeing if it actually works for you, okay? The next thing is look for credible trading mentors and communities, okay? And when I say that, again, look for a community. Like, again, Atlas Trading, bad example. All 6 of them were like working together to pump these stocks. But it was kind of like, unless you were a complete newbie, you could see what they were doing, okay? They're like retweeting each other, and it was sketchy. But, a community, whether it be Tim Sykes' community or the stocks trading community, you'll see these like-minded traders answering questions, helping each other, reaching out to others that ask questions. So look for those communities. They do exist. They're hard to find. Start with Stocks Trade. I'm very proud of the community that we have, but look for it, and you'll have to mine for it. You'll have to work for it. So last thing in summary, guys, I've swayed. I've come back to the Twitter fold since Elon bought it and as well as started the verification process. It's nice now that I finally have a blue check mark. For a decade, I didn't. I constantly had imposters. It's nice now that accounts can get verified and you're actually talking to, the Tim Bohen or the Tim Grattani or the Michael Good or the Mark Crook or the Tim Sykes. So that's nice, and it's brought back a lot less of the scammy and nastiness that we saw over the last decade. So, all right, everyone. Give me a follow on Twitter at TBohen, TBOHEN. Also, follow Stocks to Trade at Stocks to Trade, all spelled out. Would love to see you, and we'll check you out on the next video.